The royal power play. Was Camilla the secret architect of Prince Andrew's downfall? Let's be honest, we all love a good royal drama. The palaces, the pageantry, the whispered secrets behind closed doors. It's the world's most fascinating real-life soap opera. And just when we think we've got the plot figured out, a new twist emerges that changes everything. The recent seismic eviction of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson from their royal home and the stripping of their titles felt like a long-awaited decisive move from King Charles. We pictured the new king, with a heavy but resolute heart, finally wielding the axe for the good of the firm. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the mastermind behind this royal reckoning wasn't the king on the throne, but the queen at his side? New, compelling speculation is bubbling up from the hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace, suggesting that the person who truly orchestrated Prince Andrew's demise was none other than Queen Camilla. And when you peel back the layers, it starts to make a heartbreaking, strategic kind of sense. The protector in the shadows. We've all seen the transformation. Over the years, Camilla Parker Bowles has evolved from a controversial figure into the king's unwavering rock. She's the steady hand on his shoulder, the quiet confidence in a room full of chaos. And if there's one thing we've learned about her, it's this. She is fiercely, ferociously protective of her husband, King Charles. For decades it was Charles who fought for her, who shielded her from the public's glare and the media's scorn. He was her fortress. Now, as his queen, it seems the roles have subtly, powerfully shifted. Camilla has become the ultimate guardian of his reign, his legacy, and his peace. And standing in the way of that peace, casting a long dark shadow over the new monarchy, was the persistent scandal of Prince Andrew. Let's not forget, Camilla has never been a particular fan of Andrew or his ex-wife, Sarah Fergie Ferguson. Insider whispers have long suggested that she, along with other key figures like the future king, Prince William, viewed the situation with a mix of bafflement and frustration. Why was Fergie, a woman divorced from Andrew since 1996, still being accommodated within the royal fold? It was a lingering question that spoke to a lack of boundaries, and perhaps a reluctance to make tough choices. A family divided, the heart versus the crown. This is where the story gets emotionally complicated. King Charles, by all accounts, has a soft spot for his younger brother. This is family after all. The bonds of childhood, of shared history, are not easily severed. We can almost imagine the private conversations, the internal conflict between the duty of a king and the loyalty of a brother. It's a human struggle we can all relate to. That tug of war between what your heart wants and what your head knows is right. But while Charles may have been wrestling with his heart, Camilla and William were looking coldly at the facts. They saw a liability, a constant source of reputational damage, linked to the grotesque shadow of the late Jeffrey Epstein. They saw the headlines, the public outrage, and the threat it posed to the very foundation of the modern monarchy King Charles was trying to build. For them, this wasn't just about family drama. It was an existential threat, and so the narrative begins to shift. It's not difficult to picture Camilla, in the private moments of their royal apartments, being the voice of reason, the steadfast partner, gently but persistently, convincing her husband that the time for sentiment was over, that to protect the crown he waited his entire life to wear, he had to make the unimaginably difficult choice. This wasn't about being cruel. It was about being a leader. It was about finally putting the institution ahead of the individual. The final curtain call, a new era. Dawns the result, the bombshell we all just witnessed. The loss of titles, the boot from the royal lodge. It wasn't just a slap on the wrist. It was a definitive public severing. It was the palace drawing a line in the sand, declaring that the era of ambiguity and exception was over. Some people never thought they'd see the day. For years, Andrew and Fergie seemed untouchable, insulated by their name and history, despite the dark cloud that followed them. But that cloud was never going to lift on its own. It needed a force of nature to blow it away. That force, it seems, was Queen Camilla. She likely saw what her husband couldn't, that every day Andrew remained in grace was a day the new king's reign was weakened. She understood that to protect Charles, she had to help him let go of his brother. It may have taken immense persuasion, a steady, loving campaign to reach this point, but as the saying goes, it's better late than never. Buckingham Palace remains, as always, tight-lipped. They haven't commented on the speculation, and they probably never will. The official story will likely remain one of the king's decisive action. But those who watch closely, who understand the quiet power dynamics of a marriage and a monarchy, know the truth often lies in the shadows. This was more than a royal eviction. It was a queen's masterstroke. It was the ultimate act of love and protection, ensuring her husband's legacy wouldn't be defined by a scandal he didn't create. It signals a new, tougher era for the monarchy, one where Camilla's influence is not just felt, but is fundamentally shaping the future of the crown. This story is far from over. The ripples of this power play will be felt for a long time to come. Watch this space. We certainly will.